foster care children. As you heard here last night, so many of them over-medicated with multiple powerful mind-altering drugs, often used for disorders the children don't have. Critics say it is happening because of kind of an unholy convergence. Our taxpayer Medicaid dollars pay for the drugs. The pharmaceutical companies see a market. And a lot of times, doctors can move through many patients fast. ABC's Sharon Alfonsi set out to find some of the doctors and ask them questions.
These are the meds that I've been taking since I was 4.
Last night, we introduced you to some of those kids who told us stories of being on 5 drugs at a time in foster care, including drugs for severe mental disorders like schizophrenia, drugs that can carry pronounced side effects like irreversible tics, even an increased risk of suicidal tendencies. So we wonder, who's prescribing these drugs and why are they prescribing them at such high rates to foster children?
What do you want to talk about?
Well, we spent a year searching for answers.
I was going to get some information about
tracking down some of the doctors who write those prescriptions. Meet Gabriel Myers. He just turned 6. Both his father and mother had ended up in jail, so little Gabriel landed in foster care, moved from home to home. Soon, he began acting out. He was sent to see this man.
You work a lot with kids.
Dr. Sohail Panjwani, a psychiatrist, seen here on local TV, who prescribed Gabriel a powerful mix of mind-altering drugs, sometimes after just a 5-minute visit. Then, one afternoon, Gabriel did the unimaginable.
911, what's your emergency?
He locked himself into a bathroom at a foster home, screaming, "I deserve to die." Then, standing on the edge of the tub, he hung himself with a shower hose. What would drive a 7-year-old to kill himself? Eventually, the investigation turned to the drugs prescribed by Dr. Panjwani over just a 2-month period.
This is one for Lexapro. These are Symbiox.
So we tracked down Dr. Panjwani.
Do you have a minute to talk to us about Gabriel Myers?
But he did not want to talk to us on camera.
The drugs that you prescribed to him were off-label, and they were black box warnings that say that they could cause suicidal tendencies.
Sad stories happen, but that does not mean that everything is so the doctor is responsible for it, because we are in the business of taking care of these children. That's all I have to say.
But how much time did he spend with little Gabriel?
His foster father said you only spent about 5 minutes with him before you prescribed these drugs.
That is untrue.
How much time did you spend with him?
Well, I don't have the record right now, but...
Later, Dr. Panjwani told us it is possible he only spent 5 minutes with Gabriel while adjusting his meds. Gabriel's death was ultimately ruled an accident, but Florida has since kicked Dr. Panjwani out of the Medicaid program. But for every Gabriel, there are hundreds of other children calling out for help. This woman, we'll call Anne, is a former state social worker. She's dealt with hundreds of kids in foster care.
And is anyone looking out for them?
No. And if you try to speak out and say anything about it, you're basically told to shut up.
She asked we protect her identity.
Why do you think they're medicating these children?
It's much easier to medicate a child than it is to pay $200 an hour to a therapist to talk through their problems with them.
And some states have now started requiring a second opinion by a doctor before some medication is dispensed. And in Florida, where Gabriel Myers died, they are now kicking high-prescribing doctors out of the Medicaid program. Still, critics say too many foster care children are being pushed through the system, Diane, with pill after pill.
And Sharon and I, of course, teamed up for this investigation. And as you know, Sharon, we also tried to take our questions to the U.S. government, only to find agencies referring us to each other. The Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services declined our request for an interview. But we did sit down with Robert Nelson of the Federal Drug Administration, which regulates drugs in this country, and ask him who is going to lead this charge. Do this. Who is going to do it?
Hi, this is Amelia Duran, the host to Porthole to Justice, and you have just listened to a segment. Hi, Brenda. Welcome to the show. It is November 8th or January 18th. Oh my gosh, I already got November on the mind. Yeah, who is going to lead this charge? Because we've got some serious issues that that was an ABC News broadcast by anchor woman Diane Sawyer, and it aired I think quite a few years ago. And the two little girls that are interviewed in this ABC News segment that were put on so many different medications, which this is so common. And in the beginning of the Porthole to Justice, I profiled a lot of these suicides, very, very young children committing suicide in the CPS. And all of them were overly medicated. But the two little girls that were originally profiled in this ABC News segment, which was, I think, maybe 4 years ago, don't quote me. I'm going to be posting links in the Porthole to Justice blog to my research. But these two little girls have been reported by the Tennessee authorities just recently. They are searching for these two missing sisters that were profiled. I think these are the same girls that were profiled in this ABC News story. So Robertson County Sheriff's Office said Kayla Ward, who's 17 now, and Brooke Ward, 14, of Springfield, Tennessee, were last seen at their home on Highway 76, just outside Springfield. Their mother, who is their adoptive mother, who adopted these two little girls from foster care, discovered that they were gone, and they had left a note in handwriting saying, "Just pray for me. Do not come and find us. We are well cared for. We don't want your help." They want to find a place that will help them, I guess, without the medications. So there's the note said, "Please don't come looking for me." And the note continued that they're being taken good care of, and don't worry. So law enforcement doesn't believe the teens are in imminent danger, but I think this has to do with the over-medication of some of these children. At one point, it was reported on with Diane Sawyer, it was a 2020 special report, that Brooke was on 13 different psychotropic medications. They've been diagnosed with reactive, trauma or reactive disorder in some of these, separation anxiety, the things that the children go through. They diagnose some of these children with ADD because of the trauma of being removed from their environment. However, in my opinion, which is, I'm not a professional, but that just means that they have PTSD. Yeah, this story, it stinks to high heaven, and I'm going to be posting links to the original story, and then just some of the newer stories. I like to keep track of some of the children that I profile in the Porthole to Justice, just because, oftentimes they're placed. When you're put in foster care, you're not only are you removed from your home and you're put in a home with strangers, but you're automatically objectified as well. And children act out. That's what they do. And 13 psychotropic drugs. I mean, come on. And then the other thing, I'm going to be having Ryan on the show with me. The other thing is, now what we're dealing with is the pharmaceutical companies really wanting to, promoting these gender, and some of these children. Oh wow, some of these, hold on just a second. Someone was just trying to contact me. Some of these children haven't even gone through puberty yet. I mean, I'm not want to make sure that I get Ryan's perspective on this, because he was subjected to hormone therapy at a very young age. And I think it's important that I get his take on this. But there was a story that was published that I posted in the social media news network about a young boy, 12 years old, who went through the hormone therapy before he went through puberty. And then he announced to his parents that he was attracted to women and he wanted to be a boy. However, once you start these medications, there's no reversing. There's no going back. So we just need to, we really need to stop sexualizing children and projecting onto them whatever. I mean, maybe you're not happy with your child being born a boy or a girl, but projecting that onto a child is just, this is just the saddest thing I've ever heard. So I'm going to be having Ryan on the show, and we're going to be discussing that case, and we're going to be discussing some of the side effects of these medications, because now we're seeing where kids are confiding into school counselors that they may be thinking that they have, that they feel more like a girl or a boy, and we're seeing when parents aren't receptive to this, we're seeing CPS intervention and the children being able to get these medications at a very, very young, impressionable age. And I just think it's outrageous that we would even consider hormone therapy on a child that hasn't even gone through the maturation process. So, I mean, there's tons of studies out there where the brain is still forming at the age 20 to 25. You're still forming your neural pathways, your gray matter, your brain is still developing. So, I'm going to be doing some shows on that, and I'm going to be posting links to this story in the Porthole to Justice, so you can check it out. But these are some things that people need to talk about. I mean, we need to socialize this information. We need to be bringing this out because, these kids, they're getting on these medications, and I mean, 7 years old, hanging yourself. It's a very fishy story, Brenda, and it's not an isolated incident. If you go into the archives in the photo section of the Porthole to Justice, you'll see that there are dozens of children profiled that are being medicated, overly medicated, committing suicide. Just really, it's the injustice. And all of this is motivated by incentives and money. There's so much money involved in this. And, so that's really, I wanted to just come on and talk about that because I'm going to be posting it in the Porthole to Justice. And, also, we're coming up on 20 on 20. Brenda, I hope that you join me for, on the 19th at midnight for, prayers for the children and family in the Porthole to Justice. And also, to pray for, Zeph, Govinda, Charles, Patricia, myself, so that, before, it's like a prayer before the 20 on 20 storm. The mom does. She needs to find them immediately. What's concerning to me is that the police don't feel that they're in imminent danger. I think if children are missing, what the deal is a lot of people don't know this. If the only time Amber Alert gets involved is when it's a child that is removed from state custody. If it's just a civilian child that's gone missing, the police really don't respond. They don't go look. There's no alerts, and a lot of people don't know that. And it's really sad because a lot of times parents will try to kidnap their children out of state custody to get them back, and then the parents will end up getting arrested for kidnapping. So it's just really, really convoluted, and it's not in the best interest of the children or the families. And the whole system needs to be reformed. So that's what I'm shooting for. I would ideally like to see them shut down and maybe something, just a whole new, fresh approach. So that's what's going on. And we are coming down to 2020. We want to stop human trafficking by the year 2020. So if you're interested in helping us do that, you can go to human2020.com. And if you want to support the content in the Porthole to Justice, you can donate. I have a PayPal link on my blog on Facebook. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram. And it's totally free to download the app for Spreaker and subscribe to my show. All right, Brenda, you have a great day. Thanks for tuning in.